Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we delve into the invaluable insights of Rewire Your OCD Brain, a book that offers a deep understanding of the roots of anxiety and presents practical strategies for managing obsessive compulsive behavior. The book guides readers to regain command over their lives by combining scientific research with accessible mind hacks. Authored by two experts in psychology and neuropsychology, Catherine M. Pittman brings over 3 decades of experience from teaching at Notre Dame University in Indiana. She is also known for her influential work, Rewire Your Anxious Brain, and numerous publications that have served many in grappling with their anxiety. Alongside her, we had William H. Youngs, whose expertise in clinical neuropsychology and his contributions at the same university have shaped the book's rich content. Rewire Your OCD Brain is particularly beneficial for individuals experiencing anxiety, compulsive behaviors, or panic attacks. If you've ever endeavored to comprehend the challenges faced by family members or friends battling OCD, this book serves as a compassionate bridge to understanding. Moreover, therapists looking to empower their clients in overcoming obsessions will find this book to be a treasure trove of therapeutic techniques. Join us to explore the neuroscientific approaches to mastering the mind's intricate pathways and to gain control of obsessive-compulsive tendencies. Rewire Your OCD Brain. Powerful neuroscience-based skills to break free from obsessive thoughts and fears. Introduction. Discover the mechanics of your mind. Unlock the secrets to managing obsessive-compulsive tendencies. Picture this. Manuel, a star at his job, faces an obstacle that many of us might recognize. There's an important presentation on the horizon, and with each passing day, his anxiety ramps up. His mind races with what-ifs and doubts, and no amount of preparation seems enough. The sentences he crafts must be flawless. The prospect of presenting them is harrowing. Manuel's story isn't uncommon. It's the narrative of someone grappling with obsessive thought patterns, which, if unchecked, can wreak havoc on one's life. The great news is that we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Neuroscience and brain imaging have leaped forward, offering invaluable insights into our neurocognitive processes. Understanding these mechanisms is the key to mastering our own minds. Such is the treasure trove of knowledge waiting for you in Rewire Your OCD Brain by Catherine M. Pittman and William H. Youngs, a guide to deciphering and detangling the threads of obsessive thoughts to reclaim your mental peace. Part 1. Untangling the Web of Obsessive Thoughts. Imagine your mind as a well-trodden path of worries, anxieties, and the more deeply embedded obsessions. It's easy to visualize a worry as a stone along this path. It can be kicked away as you move forward. Worries are those concerns that ebb and flow alongside the daily tides of our lives. We fret about a myriad of things, but once a result surfaces, we pivot away and continue down our path. Anxieties are the larger rocks on the path. They might take a bit more effort to navigate around, and they often linger, casting shadows as the sun travels across the sky of our days. Eventually, though, they too diminish. Then there are the obsessions. These are the boulders that halt our progress entirely. Consider the scenario of post-interview rumination. You replay every moment, dissecting your responses, agonizing over what came before and what lies ahead. The fixation doesn't even yield when confirmation of the job arrives. Instead, it digs deeper, clawing back to the grade in math that clouded your certificate. The cycle of obsessive thoughts coils around a few central themes: contamination fears, the craving for symmetry and order, visual or mental reruns of violence, unwanted sexual or harmful impulses, and the dread of making errors. Some dwell in religious domains, marred by guilt or driven by compulsive acts believed to offer solace. Compulsions are the rituals we enact in a quest for comfort, from checking locks incessantly to arranging shoes with meticulous precision. They're attempts to soothe the restless mind, but they offer only a fleeting reprieve. Tracing these patterns back to their origins, to the very roots of anxiety, is where the journey to a lasting solution begins. This is the enlightening and transformative road that Rewire Your OCD Brain aims to illuminate. Part 2. Navigating through the brain's emergency protocols. Picture this. It's Friday, and you're cruising down the highway, eager for a reunion with old friends. Suddenly, a car barrels into your lane, setting off a chain reaction. In a flash, you swerve and brake, barely registering the sequence of events. Believe it or not, you didn't truly decide to act. Your reaction was an execution of the brain's emergency protocols, led by a part of your brain you might not even be aware of. Each moment of our lives, whether we're touching a hot stovetop or flinching at a loud bang, a deluge of sensory information floods our brain. Primarily, this data is processed without us noticing, shaping our responses and decisions in a subconscious dance. When we stumble upon a sensory experience, say the stifling air of a heated room, our signals head to the thalamus and then to the cerebral cortex where they're appropriately passed. Only when the cortex waves the green flag, the amygdala, the brain's quintessential security officer, spurts into action. Now alerted, you might crack a window or crank up the air conditioning. That's the cortex pathway at work. Measured, reasoned responses. But if immediate danger calls, such as the startling pop of a gunshot, the leisure of cortical deliberation is a luxury we can't afford. The amygdala intercepts the signals directly for a split-second rollout of the fight, flight, or freeze response, pumping adrenaline, fueling muscles, narrowing focus. In this instance, the amygdala pathway, you've made a getaway before the scenario even registers. Ideally, the amygdala is your brain's efficient survival strategist. The issue arises when it responds to false alarms, mistaking a barking dog for genuine peril. The amygdala's script, from an era of predators and tribal warfare, is ingrained in its core. Better safe than sorry. But this prehistoric vigilantism isn't always beneficial. It can miscategorize harmless stimuli as threats, spawning unwarranted anxiety, a response amplified in those experiencing OCD. The trickiest part? We have no direct authority over the reactions activated by the amygdala. Changing them is akin to rewriting an ancient script. Despite this challenge, there are strategies for undermining this overzealous watchman and reclaiming a sense of calm from the throes of anxiety. Let's explore the ways we can steer our brains out of false alarms and towards tranquility. Part 3. The Cortex Conundrum. When thoughts spiral into anxiety. So we've seen how the amygdala can leap into action, but sometimes the cause of our anxiety is much closer to home. It's our own conscious thoughts. This is good news because it means we have more control than we might think. Let's look at Sheila. She wakes with a throbbing headache and can't shake the thought that it might be a brain tumor. These worries are not random firings in her amygdala, but purposeful contemplations within the cerebral cortex. However, even though the amygdala isn't the originator of these thoughts, it's still listening in, eavesdropping, via its connections to the cortex. Misinterpreting this internal noise, it mistakenly sounds the alarm and initiates a stress reaction. Sheila's fear springs from a direct sensory experience, her physical pain. Yet there is Tony, who's grappling with a concern not about what he feels, but about what he doesn't hear. Silence from his girlfriend. As he sips his coffee, the lack of a morning text spirals into dread about his relationship and whether he's enough. For Tony, there's no sensory trigger. His anxiety is born entirely from his thoughts. Both Sheila and Tony's anxiety are products of their cortex, but the manifestations are the same. Their brain's defense system is poised to respond, leading to hormonal changes and an intense sensation of fight or flight. For individuals with OCD, these emotional shifts often reaffirm their original fears, thus fueling a self-sustaining cycle of anxiety and distress. The concept of cognitive fusion, where we take our imagined thoughts as truths plays a big role here. It's akin to a superpower for humans, allowing us to foresee danger, plan elaborate projects, and predict weather patterns. But for those with OCD, this power skews toward threat overestimation, sending signals to an overactive amygdala. Consider someone with OCD who has a transient thought about harming their child, a thought that could actually flash through the minds of many people harmlessly. The stark difference lies in the fixation and the fear that they might truly be a threat. This is a case of a reinforced idea, a fleeting thought becoming an all-consuming concern. Understanding the interplay between the amygdala and cortex, and recognizing the origins of anxiety sets the groundwork for overcoming unwarranted guilt and embarking on a journey to manage and mitigate obsessive thoughts. It's a step closer to breaking the cycle and finding mental clarity. Part 4. Empowering yourself to overcome obsessive thoughts. Now that you understand your body's automated defense system and its role in anxiety and obsessive behaviors, let's explore how you can put this knowledge into practice for a healthier, more balanced life. When that internal alarm of yours sounds off and anxiety grips you, it's crucial to conduct a momentary review of the situation. Remember, it might be a false alarm fueling a disproportionate response. In this heightened state of alert, take a step back and reflect on what's happening within your body. If you're in the throes of a panic attack, pay attention to your rapid heartbeat, your stiff muscles, and the beads of sweat on your skin. This level of self-awareness interrupts the amygdala's panic cycle, simultaneously teaching you to perceive these physical responses as non-threatening, normal reactions in the future. One of your mind's quirks is that it struggles to completely focus on more than one thing at a time. Exploit this by replacing obsessive thoughts with something else that captures your interest. Engage in activities or hobbies that are less demanding yet absorbing, such as taking a walk, making a phone call, or starting a lighthearted game. It's important to remember that the body's defense mode needs to run its course. But instead of letting that energy stew, direct it into something constructive like physical exercise or an outdoor venture. Such actions not only burn off the excess energy, but coax the amygdala into standing down, promoting relaxation and a slower heart rate. Exercise also triggers the release of endorphins, your body's natural mood elevators, akin to the effects of certain anti-anxiety medications, but without the potential side effects. Humans uniquely possess the ability to forecast distant future events. While this predictive power is a blessing, it can also be a curse, prompting preemptive defense responses to threats that may never materialize. Grounding yourself in the present is a helpful antidote. Engage with your immediate surroundings actively. Observe, listen, and immerse. Mastering the arts of deep breathing, mindfulness meditation, and muscle relaxation exercises can diminish the frequency and intensity of unnecessary defense triggers. If unwanted thoughts persist as you tuck into bed, consider reading or listening to a podcast to steer your mind elsewhere. Envision something delightful, a future goal or aspiration, or recall a treasured memory to soothe your thoughts. By integrating mindfulness, physical exercise, and a focus on the here and now into your routine, endeavor to discern between what is within your power to change and what lies beyond your control. Embracing acceptance and fostering gratitude for the blessings in your life can reduce the compulsion to obsess over the unmanageable. It's a practice in patience and perspective that can shift your life toward a more contented, obsession-free horizon. Part 5. Shifting the neural landscape, the plasticity of the brain. The brain's defense responses may be tenacious, but one of its most remarkable traits is its plasticity, its ability to reshape itself through experience and practice. Just as fears can be learned over time, the brain can also unlearn them with strategic effort. Think about a child, for example, who associates an unpleasant scolding at a fast food restaurant with barbecue sauce purely due to coincidence. This child, let's call him Tom, may grow older with a buried aversion to barbecue sauce, a remnant from that stinging memory. Even if Tom can't recall the event itself, his amygdala has the incident on file, ready to flare up with alarm at the sight or smell of the source. What we see here is the brain's associative learning at play. Neurons that fire together due to their paired activation, the barbecue sauce and the yelling, in Tom's case, wire together, forming a bond that informs future reactions. This might sound somewhat grim, however. It opens a window to an empowering reality. If you can consciously create positive experiences and pair them with neural activity, you'll begin carving out new, joy-filled neural pathways. Engage in activities that bring you pleasure and comfort, and over time, these pathways can become your brain's go-to routes, altering its very structure through what we call neuroplasticity. Armed with this knowledge, exposure therapy becomes a powerful tool to face and defang your personal anxieties. It's a re-education for the amygdala, persuading it to unlearn old fears by incrementally exposing it to the fear source. The objective is to build up tolerance to the symptomatic response of the amygdala without giving in to compulsive behaviors. Succumbing to those compulsions would only enforce the old, fear-based neural circuitry. As you stretch your exposure in just right doses, you're effectively rewiring your brain. Through persistence and repetition, the tangible landscape of your brain morphs, which in turn has the potential to recalibrate the obsessive-compulsive tendencies that once governed your days. It's a testament to the brain's incredible adaptability and a beacon of hope for anyone seeking to reclaim the reins over their thoughts and reactions. Final summary. Our journey into the human mind reveals that the structures within, the amygdala and cortex, can trigger spirals of anxiety and obsession, often over things that pose no real threat. While our instinctive defense systems are designed to protect us, they can sometimes work overtime, sounding false alarms that keep us in a state of constant vigilance or worry. We have the ability to reflect and anticipate, a tool that can misfire, causing us to brace for dangers that may never come to pass. Yet it's this same characteristic, thoughtful analysis that can help us critique our fears, understand their invalidity, and temper our reactions accordingly. When anxiety does take hold, strategies like recognizing bodily responses, seeking out distractions, and simple but powerful acts of presence can help mitigate the impact. Exercising not only uses up the adrenaline from a triggered fight-or-flight response, but also re-energizes and resets our emotional state. Harnessing the brain's inherent neuroplasticity is our ultimate tool in reshaping our responses. By forming new, healthier associations through positive experiences and measured exposure to our fears, we can rewire deep-seated pathways of worry and compulsion. With patience and continued effort, this can lead to profound change, allowing us to move past being held hostage by our fears and step into a life marked by a much freer and more relaxed state of mind. This is the transformative knowledge that Rewire Your OCD Brain offers us. By facing our fears head-on and recoding our brain's reactions to them, we empower ourselves to break the chokehold of obsessive-compulsive patterns and embrace a future of greater peace and control over our inner world. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought-provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.